Welcome to the Piston Fanatic. I am your host, Dave Dalton, and I'm excited to share my passion and perspective of our Detroit Pistons as we go on this fantastic voyage together. I've been a diehard Piston fan since the days of Dave Bing and Bob Lanier. I've also been the varsity basketball coach of a very successful program in northern Michigan. Well, I want to thank you all for listening. Please subscribe right now and like. We have another trade, Piston fans. I just did one earlier today about Simone Fontecchio, and now we made another trade for Monty Morris. We traded Monty Morris to the Timberwolves for Shake Milton, Troy Brown Jr., and a second-round pick. But I just want to touch on the first trade that we did earlier in the day, first about Fontecchio. And, I'm really excited about that. He is 28 years old, but he's only played 2 years in the NBA, and he can shoot it, and he can take it to the basket. He's very clever and a smart player. I think we're going to love him. And I thought to myself, why would Utah trade him? And I just didn't think they would. I didn't think we could get him for as cheaply as we did. I mean, that second round pick, I think that's what Utah really wanted because it's close to being a first round pick. But they have John Collins, who I wanted us to possibly trade for since he was with the Hawks, and Taylor Hendricks, who I loved in last year's draft. But they have Marketing, so they have a lot of forwards, and they have a lot of players to play. And so anyway, they lost our game. But I just remember thinking when I'm watching them play, is when we watched that game where it was 155 to 148 in overtime. Why can't we get a player like that? Where did they get him from? And I mean, he like I said, he lit us up. But now we have him, so it's pretty cool, and we'll see how it works out. Like I said, you can never have too many wings. But so I think this trade for Monty Morris is, we got a couple of guys. We got a second round pick, which again, they're always valuable. But Shake Milton is 27 years old, 6'5". He has an expiring contract, or it's team option for next year. And Troy Brown Jr.'s contract is a team option for next year. But I still think the main reason is, they ask Monty Williams why he was playing Sasser. Was he playing Sasser because he thought Monty Morris wasn't ready to play yet, that he wasn't in condition and play, or was it just because Sasser's too good not to play? And he said it's the second one. It's because Sasser's too good not to play. Well, that creates just a terrible logjam and conundrum. I was wondering, why aren't we playing Monty Morris? I thought, we wanted to show him off. He never ever got to play enough minutes to let other teams see what he was how good he could really do. I really don't know exactly how good a player. I mean, he played like 9 minutes most games, or maybe got to play up to 14 one game, and he had mostly pretty good games, solid games, but he never really got to display everything he can do. And it was really unfortunate that he got injured, for almost the whole year. So, but I made the mistake when I did my podcast earlier today, talking about Fontecchio, and I said that it was Chris Finch was the general manager of the Wolves, but obviously he's the coach. And Tim Connolly is the general manager of the Minnesota Timberwolves, and he signed a huge contract to be the general manager there because he was the guy that orchestrated the World Championship team at Denver. So he was the coach at Denver, and he drafted Monty Morris. And when they traded him, he was sad because he loved Monty Morris, and so he wanted him because they had, like I said in the other one podcast just prior today, they needed a backup point guard because Conley was hurt, and if they wanted to make a big playoff push. So again, I was hoping that we got Leonard Miller, but it didn't happen. So I think this trade was as much, Monty Morris was expiring, so we had to make a decision. But like I said in the prior podcast, we have Cade and Jaden Ivey and Marcus Sasser. All three guys can play point guard and off guard, shooting guard. So they're very flexible that way. You can play two of them together at any time, and you can even play three of them together at times. But you can play two of them together, and they can flip flop back and forth from point to the shooting guard, and it's not a problem. So anyway, Shake Milton hasn't shot the ball well this year. He's been a good shooter in the past. So this year he's played in 38 games, scored 4.7 points, 1.3 rebounds, 1.3 assists, shot 40% from the floor and only 26% on threes. I'm sure that's a very, very low volume. 82% from the free throw line. For his career, he got drafted by the 76ers. He's averaged for his career 8.7 points. So he was a rotation player in Philly even when they were pretty good. 2.2 rebounds, 2.5 assists, shot 45% for his career, and 36% on three. So he has been a decent shooter, and he shot 83% from the free throw line. So that usually says he's a good shooter. But his contract for this year is $5 million, and again, it's a team option next year for $5 million. So that gives you good flexibility. I know Piston fans think that's flexibility is a four-letter word, but it's not. It has a lot more letters in it. But anyway, flexibility, so we can keep him. And guys with those contracts are also good trade chips because sometimes you need guys like that to throw in the trade. Maybe he'll work out that we need him. Maybe he'll slide in for injury. Maybe he's a guy that plays tough on defense. And so does Troy Brown Jr. So Troy Brown Jr. is a small forward. He's 24, so he's young. And so he's still got potential and a lot of room to grow. But he, in 37 games this year, 4.2 points, 1.9 rebounds, 0.9 assists, 44% from the floor, and 37% on threes, and 86% from the line. So for his career, he's averaged 6.3 points, 3 rebounds, 1.4 assists, 43%, and 36% on threes, 78% from the line. So, he's doesn't get to play a lot of minutes. So when you see guys' averages that you can't necessarily always tell, but I think he plays tough and hard. But I do think that he's not necessarily in the plans. I think that they had to put those two guys together because their salaries ended up matching Monty Morris's. So we got a second round pick, and we got two guys that are potentially expiring contracts that we can hang on if we think they fit our team, and they can even be the 10th and 11th or 13th guy on the team if we needed them to be. But so anyway, like I said, I think the big reason is they felt bad probably not playing Monty Morris enough, but feel even worse not playing Sasser. Sasser just needs to play. Again, if he plays a lot of minutes the rest of the year, if he plays, I've been suggesting 20 to 25 minutes every game, and then we can see what he can do. And then if he can't do it, then we can make other plans. So who knows what's going to happen the rest of the night? But we're playing the Kings tonight, and that should be a fun game. And hopefully everybody's healthy. Hopefully maybe there'll be another trade. But it's pretty interesting and exciting. And I do think that there will be more trades coming up soon. But I really appreciate you listening. Again, subscribe and like, and go Pistons.